Hello all, this is Ultimate Prime, and today I'm going to be taking a look at Robots in Disguise Power Surge Optimus Prime. Now this is the deluxe Optimus Prime, not the Mega Power Surge Optimus Prime. And let's just take a quick look at the box. You see a picture of him in his vehicle mode. You also see a picture of him in his robot mode. If you turn it to the side, you get another picture of him in his robot mode. And if you turn it over here, you see that he transforms in 12 steps. You see all the steps of his transformation, and you see his vehicle mode and his robot mode, and that he can work with Minicon weaponizers, which is the new sort of gimmick that they've come out with robots in disguise. Also, you can see that he has a app here. Scan him, and he can be playable in the game. And that's really it for the box. So I'm going to just turn him over, and I'm going to go ahead and get him opened up, and we'll just take a look and see what we've got. So here he is, opened up and out of the package and in his vehicle mode. And I have to admit that I think his vehicle mode looks nice. It is the same mode as his original Robots in Disguise mode, but it is a slight retool. They did make some changes. You can see them probably more in the robot mode than you see in the vehicle mode, but you can see some of the differences in this vehicle mode. As a matter of fact, let's just take a look at the original Optimus Prime. He's got a little bit of paint here where the other one didn't, and also here at the top he's actually got a little insignia here, as this one had a smooth point, and the back has been changed. Some of it for the better, some of it actually not, and I'll get to that later. But so you can see there are definitely some differences, even though the transformation is very similar, and it is the same mode in general, just a slight retool. But he does come with some accessories. He comes with these two swords here. They are blue and they look sort of like wings. Got another one right here, and what they do is you can peg them on to the top of the vehicle. Peg this one on, and what I like about this mode is they become, actually I put them on the wrong way. Let's flip these guys over. They should be this way. There we go. And so what I like about these guys is that they become sort of a roof to the car, which I think helps, because in the original mode, you can still see that gap. There's a big gap, and the only thing you had to fill in that gap was his axe. This time you also have the wings as well as the axe. Now, one of the problems with the way they did this is that in the original, and let me pull out that axe really quick. He does come here. It's completely no paint or anything on it, unlike the original, which actually did have paint. And I'll show you that one. It came yellow and had some paint. This one, I guess since they had the wings on it, they decided to not bother with the axe. But okay, so anyway, the original axe had a slot in here where it pegged into nicely. This one does not. So it kind of gives you some problems as to where to store it at. So let's just show where the original stored. It had these pegs right here, and you could just snap them in here, and it's stored nicely and kind of filled in that gap a little bit. Well, this one does not have that. There's no place to peg it in. So, I mean, there's a few ways to do it, because you have these two little gaps here, but there's no real official way to do it. And so it gets kind of hard. I've tried putting them underneath, but that really doesn't work because it's a little too short. So the best bet for storing his weapons, well, there's two of them. One way is to use these two little grooves right here and peg them into the little grooves on his leg, and you could do it like that, but you still get the handle kind of sticking out here, which I don't really like. So the best way I found to do it is to just turn it over. You still use those two grooves. And it kind of sits there a little bit loosely because there's no place for this to peg in. But his wings have the ability to close up. And so when you close those wings up, they actually hold that part down. So you could actually flip them over. It doesn't really fall out. So that's probably the best bet you're going to get for storing him, storing his axe. But you can do it like that, and it stores pretty nicely. And it's not so far, you know, it's not in the way. It's not, the handle's not sticking out here and all that. You just see a little bit of the axe head. So there is one more piece of storage that he does have, and that is down here. He has a part that in his robot mode, actually I'm going to just pull this out, sticks in over his shoulder. And this little part here, when you pull it off, it just stores underneath. Now what I would have liked to have seen is some way to use this out here. It would have taken a lot of work, maybe like a little notch or something on the actual sword so where it could stick up here at the top and form like little headlights or blasters, or even up here. I think that would have looked nice, but there's just no way to store it up above, you know, on the roof at all in this mode. I've checked and looked and tried to see if I could slide it anywhere else, but you really can't. Which I think is a shame, because I think it would have added just to the playability of the character, giving him a nice look with these being stuck somewhere up here on the top. But you really can't, so they just basically store right down here on the bottom. There's two little notches, and they plug in here, kind of just out of sight, out of mind. So I felt like that was a missed opportunity there for Hasbro to do something with those lights. So now what we're going to do is transform him into his robot mode. Now, in order to transform him into his robot mode, we are first going to take any weapons or anything that we still have on him out. And in this case, we're going to take this off for now. And then we are going to open up the legs to form the feet. You just pull this part back, and that pulls down. And there you basically have his legs. Then you can turn the body around to face forward, so you have his chest facing forward. And then you pull this part open to form his shoulders and his arms. And then pull the hands out here and pull the hands out here. And then his head, you just pop up. And then pull this part here down on the shoulders. I'm going to pull that down. And you can pull the wings out, and they can be like this to form the wings higher. You can really put the wings any way you want. They can be up here, make up a little higher, or down lower. It just really depends on you and what your preference is. But there he is in his robot mode. Now, in his robot mode, there's a few things that you can do with him. You can, of course, have him with the wings on, and his axe can fit in his hand, of course. And you can have him with the axe. It is rather bland axe, but he can hold it. Or you can take the axe and store it over here on the side, on either side of the leg. It stores, there's a little slot in here. He's got like a little hook, and there's a slot here. You just put it over that and slot them in there. And then his axe can store here on his leg, and that allows you to pull these little wings off and use them as weapons. And I think that looks pretty cool. So let's just go over his articulation really quick. His head moves very slightly. You can push it back a little bit because of his transformation, but it only turns very slightly to the left or right. His shoulders go up and down due to the transformation. I'm going to pull this out of his hand really quick. And his upper arms don't turn, but his elbow does turn, and he does have elbow bend. His waist turns. You can do a full 360 on his waist. His legs can go up and down, in and out. They can turn here at the upper hip, and he does have knee bend here. And that's pretty much it for his articulation. Now, one of the things that I do like that is different from his previous mode is his hands. You actually can see the hands, whereas in his previous mode, you really couldn't. And what they did was they took the part that was blocking his hands and they just put it there on his shoulder, which does make his shoulder look a bit bulkier. But I think having these up here on the shoulder kind of as almost like little wings or shoulder pads is better than having them cover up his hands. So I did like that. Now there's one more piece that I want to include in his robot mode, and that is this little part. These like headlights or cannons or whatever they're supposed to be. Those just clip on right here in the front, and they give him a slightly different look. It's a look that I like. I think it would have been useful if you could have used that in his vehicle mode, but it does look nice in his robot mode and gives him a little something extra to separate him from the original version. Now, speaking of the original version, let's just take a look at the two. There are definitely some differences. Like I said, the window here is different. He's got a different chest plate. Of course, this one doesn't have the accessories here or the sword, even though he does have the axe. If you look at the hands, you can see the difference. So let me pull the swords out of here so you can take a look at the hands. And if you look at the hands, you can see that here the hands are a lot more covered up, especially from the side. You really can barely see them, and you can actually see them a little bit more here. And of course, this part is shorter. That's because they added this part up here and took it off so that you could reveal the hands a little bit better. And so, like I said, I do like that. In a lot of ways, I feel like this is more than just a retool or just reusing of the same mode. I actually felt there was a little bit of an upgrade to him. They changed a few of the things that caused problems, even though, like I said, the axe storage in his in his vehicle mode didn't work out all that great to me. But I mean, overall, I felt like this is a pretty good retool. And just for a few comparisons, here he is with RID Starscream. And you can see he's actually a little bit taller than him, but they are roughly the same size. And here is RID Bumblebee. And you can see that they're roughly the same size as well. Looks pretty good together. And let's put in RID Strongarm. And here she is. It's kind of the shorty of the group. And I'm going to move Bumblebee back a little bit. And there you go, with just a few comparisons. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and transform him back into his vehicle mode. Now, in order to transform him back into his vehicle mode, we're first going to pull off these weapons. Anything he's holding in his hands. And we're going to get rid of the axe he has back here. Let's pull that off. And we also need to pull this part off too. Get that out of the way. Now we can pull his arms up and twist them forward and actually just pop his head down as well. Pull this up, twist it forward. His hands are going to come up here and grab these little handles here. So let's do that. And we're going to do that on both sides. Have the hands grab those little handles, and then this part can come together to form the cab of the truck. Then his legs, you're going to twist these around so that these are facing forward, and then you're just going to pull this part here split these feet apart, pull this part up to the front, and that forms the side of the vehicle. You're going to do the same with this leg. Pull this up to the front, forms the other side of the vehicle. And then you're going to take this little piece here and you're going to put it underneath the vehicle. Store it down there. And it slots in pretty nicely there. And then the next thing you're going to do is, if you want to store his axe, you don't have to store his axe, but if you plan on storing it, like I said, the best way is probably to put it here so that it hangs loosely. And then you want to put the wings on. One here. One here. And then they fold in and fold in. And there you have him back in his vehicle mode. So overall, I do like him. I feel like he was an upgrade to the original. They improved on a lot of things. So that is it for this review. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe and comment. And I will be doing some more reviews in the future. So until then, you have a great day, and I'll catch you later.